Hello everyone, this is Nick. How are all of you? Time once again to talk about the mountain of stuff FFG have revealed at this year's Gencon. I say once again because it feels like just yesterday we did this last year, where we were all fawning over all the information of the new Clone Wars stuff that was going to be coming to X-wing and Legion, which we, as of today, have. Thanks to the recent release of the Clone Wars content in Legion. In fact, it's being simultaneously released at Gencon as well as around the world. Or it seems like a few LGSs around the world at least have it at this point in time anyway. So in this video, we're going to have a quick chat about all the Star Wars content that was revealed at FFG's in-flight panel. And in the video I'm going to do tomorrow, we're going to talk about the Marvel content because yes, FFG got a license to produce Marvel games. They're doing an LCG and a miniature-based game. Very, very excited to talk about that. In fact, admittedly, even though I'm mainly an X-wing content creator, I actually have way more to talk about with that. So stay tuned for that tomorrow. In the meantime, we have some news for Armada, Legion, and X-wing. And just before we talk about the X-wing stuff, let's get through the Armada and Legion stuff. I know you guys are here for my X-wing content. But in any case, let's take a quick look at this because we have a couple of new expansions for Armada. On the Rebel and Empire, respectively, we have the Nadiri Starhawk and the Onagar class Star Destroyer. I'm going to be honest, I don't really know much about the Star Wars lore behind these particular ships, but I'm sure those of you who are furiously typing away telling me, oh, Nick, that's from the so-and-so, and it's just so great, certainly seemed to get a really good audience reaction when these were revealed at the panel anyway. And over in the Star Wars Legion content, we have a few more things for the new factions in the Republic and Separatists. Namely, a couple of new commanders in Count Dooku and Clone Captain Rex. We have some new ground units in the Super Battle Droids and the Phase 2 Clone Troopers, which were the ones that were seen in Episode 3. So kind of like a mix between Clone Troopers and Stormtroopers. They have that same sort of bubbly side bit on the helmet. I don't know what the technical word for that is. Also, we have a couple of repulsor tanks. We have the AAT Trade Federation battle tank and the TX-130 Sabre class fighter tank, a fantastic choice for the first piece of heavy ordnance for both these factions, if I must say. Obviously, the Trade Federation tank, famous because of its appearance in Episode 1, and with the Sabre class tank, if you guys are familiar with the old Battlefront 2 game, I'm not talking about EA's microtransaction hell, I'm talking about the old one made by Pandemic back in the mid-2000s. This was something you played with both on the Empire and Republic, and it was a really fun part of that game, so great to see it here. It certainly seems like just how they did with Rebel and Empire, they're trying to very much mirror the kind of expansion that both factions get, so they're both getting repulsor tanks, which I imagine will have at least very similar stats. We've also got a couple of battlefield expansions with this here Imperial bunker, based on the bunker that we saw in Endor in Return of the Jedi. It looks really cool. It has a full interior and is meant to be usable in some forms of scenarios. No information on that just yet, but looks awesome. As well as the crashed escape pod, which is modelled after the escape pod that appeared at the start of A New Hope, and comes with a mini of a protocol droid and R2 unit, which can obviously be painted as R2-D2 and C-3PO, but the way FFG were talking about it, it sounds like these can be used as generic protocol and R2 astromechs, so they can be fielded on, they said either Rebel or Empire, but they might be generic for all factions. We don't have enough information on those just yet. I gotta be honest, I don't play a whole heap of Legion these days, but I'm probably going to buy this just because I really want those minis. These look absolutely awesome. Okay, the reason you're all here. Let's talk about this new X-wing stuff, because we have a few expansions coming up for the Wave 6 release later in the year. First of all, Major Von Reg's TIE Fighter. This is the sort of TIE Inquisitor, TIE Interceptor looking thing from the Resistance TV show. Don't know much about it. We don't know if it's going to have the auto thrusters baked in ability. We know, based on the way it functions, that FFG do have their work cut out for them, because this does seem to be a very similar design to the TIE Interceptor / TIE Silencer, which those two existing separately are okay because they're on different factions, but this has to coexist on the same faction with the TIE Silencer, possibly alongside a newer version of the TIE Silencer that we saw in the Episode 9 trailer. Yes, very curious to see what they do here. It might not have auto thrusters as a key way of keeping it differentiated from the TIE silencer. We do know for the meantime that we have at least one pilot revealed in Major Von Reg, who is Initiative 6. And now the First Order have a decent amount of Initiative 6 pilots with this guy, Midnight, and Quick Draw, so there might be a list around Initiative 6 built that might see some meta play. I mean, who knows, we don't know the pilot ability just yet, but that always has some interesting potential when we have those kinds of options. We also have the Fireball. Okay, this looks awesome. I'm very excited to play with this. At the presentation, it was hinted at this plays with a high risk reward strategy where you can trade off like damage to get rid of like red or orange tokens. Don't know too much about what that relates to just yet. Sounds a lot like the Jack Pawkins pilot, but who knows? Maybe it's like a baked-in ability for the ship. We have one pilot revealed thanks to the template in this image here with Jarek Yeager at Initiative 5. I'm guessing we'll at least have Kaz as well. Kaz is an interesting one because he's quite a talented pilot, but not so talented when it comes to flying the Fireball. Very much outshone by all the different aces on the Colossus. So Kaz could be Initiative 4, maybe he'll be Initiative 5 as well. I don't think, essentially is what I'm saying, that we'll see him at Initiative 6. But could have some cool potential there. When this show was originally revealed, we were sort of speculating on the different kind of ships we might see. I think the Fireball and the TIE Interceptor thing were definitely ones that we expected to see from this show. Obviously, there's all the other ace platforms from the Colossus, which are like amalgamations of different Star Wars ships, and it'll be curious to see if FFG delve much deeper into these. Obviously, when you start adding like hot-rodded ships into the game, there's basically limitless potential in terms of design, but it does start to get a bit messy in terms of the way they should function, faction identity, that kind of stuff. So I'd like to see at least a couple more of these ships enter into the game, but I would understand if FFG were a little bit cautious in adding a whole heap in. We are also getting a re-release of the Hound's Tooth with a new paint job. Also, it comes alongside the Nashtar Pup Z95 Headhunter, which is quite cool. Also, if you take a look at the templates, you'll notice that the Nashtar Pup actually has a Bosk template, which is something we don't have. Currently in the game, we have a Nashtar Pup pilot, as in the pilot card, and for the Nashtar Pup, we just use the Nashtar Pup template. We don't have a separate like Bosk, Moralo Eval, Latsrazi template, which means they might be adding in some Z95 pilots into this pack as well. Maybe we'll get a Bosk pilot on the Z95. I was originally disappointed when they re-released the Z95 on the Scum faction and didn't add any pilots. I thought that was an obvious place to put some. Maybe this will add some upgrades or something to the platform that feels a bit lackluster on Scum right now. Or maybe they're just going to print templates for all the different YV666 pilots just for the sake of using it with the Nashtar Pup. Who knows? But it's a possibility. We at least have a different template that we didn't have before. And last but certainly not least, we got information on these card and cardboard packs. So we knew that there was going to be some kind of pilot or upgrade pack up until this point, but we didn't have too many details on it. Now we know that there are going to be 3 of these packs released separately. One for Hotshots and Aces, which the name kind of implies there's going to be like higher initiative pilots on the original 5 factions. No more information on that, but I'm already formulating in my head a wish list of pilots we want to see. We definitely want more pilots for the A-Wing, the B-Wing, the TIE Interceptor. We know there's more pilots for the Resistance and First Order, so maybe Lando on the Resistance Falcon, for example. Not sure what to do with the First Order. Maybe Kylo will get back in the seat of the Upsilon. Who knows? But certainly there are ships that are lacking in terms of their option for pilots. And look, I'll make a separate video on that because that's a whole other discussion that we should have a chat about. Also, we have Never Tell Me the Odds and Obstacle Pack, which is really, really cool to see. There are unique obstacles in like the Sea Rock Cruiser Pack. I believe there was some in the old, like the Force Awakened pack from first edition that hasn't made it into any pack in second edition yet. So maybe this is just a way of giving everyone most of the obstacles. I assume it's going to add gas clouds as well for those who have not bought into the new factions. So that's a fantastic thing. I mean, I'm just guessing at this stage, but that would make the most sense. And Fully Loaded is a devices pack, so it's going to feature bombs and mines and maybe remotes as well. Wouldn't surprise me if there are new obstacles, but I'm a bit hesitant to think that FFG would add new upgrades in the Fully Loaded pack. Look, it's not impossible. I mean, maybe there's a design for a bomb that they just couldn't make work on the schedule of ships they want to release, so they're going to put it in this instead. But look, I think the key thing here is we're probably going to get a bulk pack of bombs and mines and that kind of stuff. The kind of things you get in like the squadron packs for the Republic Separatists or the conversion packs for the original 5 factions. So perhaps the old version 1 players won't be needing this, but we don't know for sure. I mean, we'll see what happens. We'll see if FFG sort of go there. One thing I will say before we end up this whole discussion, yes, there is a picture of the Xwing on the front of the Hotshots and Aces pack. Yes, everyone is really hoping that we finally get a K2SO pilot. I mean, I'm not too fussed. At the end of the day, it's about whether or not the ship needs new pilots, but yeah, that's going to be the kind of thing that everyone's going to demand, and if FFG don't give it to us, that's going to be the topic of a lot of various forums and stuff. But yeah, who knows? Not a lot of information to go on just yet. We don't have any articles for any of this new stuff just yet. In fact, we don't have any articles on any of this new Star Wars content just yet. And I do, again, just want to encourage FFG, if any of you guys are watching, please, when you reveal stuff at Gencon, just put the articles over on the website. It means it's very hard to source all these images and everything for the sake of us content creators. But look, that's a whole other topic. I won't get into that now. In the meantime, stay tuned. As I said, tomorrow we'll take a look at all the new Marvel information from the new FFG games. For the time being, don't forget to like and subscribe. Like me on Facebook, follow me on Twitter and Reddit. Please consider supporting the Patreon as well. Thank you so much to all of my existing patrons, and I'll catch you all in the next video.